And
Should be recording.
let's spotlight the video to Joe Fontechia. And then we'll do a countdown of 3, 2, 1, action.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the second day of our Tricks of the Trade, and I don't know if anybody is going to suffer through what they did yesterday, if we got some newbies or we got some people from yesterday. It will be a little different, never the same. As you people know, I'm crazy, and definitely I'm crazy, so I always like to do stuff. But we have an outline for you, and again, the outline is kind of just a guide to what we have planned for you today. When we have Tricks of the Trade, if anybody's ever been in one of my classes, and incidentally, Brian and I actually toured, and we did a Tricks and Trade seminars for many of the stores, and we played cat and mouse with each other. It was absolutely the most fun time I think I've ever had. Brian did one thing, I did another, and we kept going back and have giggles and laugh with everybody. And again, also last week, I have to say this, Joni Monero did a great job of introducing the many of Tricks of the Trade that she had. So there might be some repeats of that in a different way, but I hopefully will give you some new stuff to do. And this is the greatest thing about Tricks of the Trade to sound professional. It doesn't matter what level of player you are. You could have a single keyboard. I can take somebody who's had 3 lessons and I can teach them an ending that would make them sound like a pro, and with some of these features. So the outline for us is going to be something like this. We're going to start off with intros and endings, because believe it or not, every song has to have some kind of intro. If you don't have a good intro, you're not going to get a date in the evening. So always remember that. So you got to have a good intro. And then of course, if you had a good date, you're going to get a good ending. So every song will have an ending and a beginning for you. So we're going to learn some of these tricks on that. And then we also will do things without rhythm, and then how to use the fill-in. And then the most important thing is when I change registrations. Registrations are sounds, and we have to know and understand that. And the last thing we're going to cover is what I call color chords. That was, we didn't spend a lot of time with that, and we had a lot of questions on that. So hopefully I'll save enough time to show you what we call color chords to make you sound more professional. So the first thing is I want to say is that we have introductions in the instrument. You know that. Some of you've got 1, some of you have 2. But what if I only have 1 and I want to play a waltz? Every time I play that waltz, that intro's going to be pretty well the same. So, but I like the sound that I have in the right hand, and I want to practice the song. So if I go, I have this introduction, and I like that sound that I have. So I want to practice the song and keep that sound. Now, there's a trick to this. I hit the stop button. Now, remember how this goes. If you do it in this order, you'll always be good. I hit the stop button. I like the sounds that I have, because if I cancel everything out, I got to find all these sounds again. I don't want to do that. So what you do is you come over here to the rhythm that I picked. It's waltz styles, they call it. It's the orchestra. I'm going to take it off. And the next thing you do is you put back the easy button. Now I'm going to have the same sounds on the keyboard. That song. So let's go back to the waltz, and I'm going to put the waltz down, and guess what? That same sound is going to be there. It's a little trick that I use if I find a great setting for a song. Could be a fast song, a slow song, and I like that sound, but yet I want to practice it without the rhythm, without having that orchestra, because I've got to learn a few things on it, but I don't want to have different sounds. So again, one more time, and I'm a teacher, so when I say a teacher, I'm repetitive. My wife hates it because I always say three things to her. I heard you the first time. You don't have to say it a second time or the third time. But here's how we do it. Remember, find the sound you like, take off the orchestra, put back the easy button, and you'll have it. That's a great one, okay? Now, another way is I'm going to play without rhythm, is instead of having the introduction, which is always repetitive, here is another trick. Count back 4 measures of the song. 1, 2, 3, 4, and use that as your introduction. We're going to use a song called 5'2", and remember, when I say we're using a song, I call this an exercise, not a song. When I say an exercise, it means that I'm not really thinking of the title of the song. I am looking at it as just an exercise. So in the song, and you have 5'2" up there, okay? Second page. If you notice, I have 8, 7, 6, 5 at the end of the song. So in measure 5 is going to be the last 4 measures of the song. So I'm going to put on a Dixieland arrangement, just because that's kind of what we have here. And here's the end of the song. That last 4 measures of the song for my introduction. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. Now, another form of that, and you could do this on any song. In fact, I might even play those last 4 measures without the rhythm. I might do something like this. That's pretty cool, and a lot of times I'll do that with a trumpet solo or a solo instrument, and I'll do it so that, here's good, I love this, listen to this. This is not in our program, but I just thought of it. And then I would go into the song. So you could, again, playing the last 4 measures, I could even do. To the song again. So you can be creative by using the last 4 measures. 1, use rhythm. 2, play it without rhythm. 3, play it with a solo voice, and then go into the song. All of those will make you sound more professional than just hitting the intro button and then trying to figure out when to come in. Those are fun things. I hope you like that, okay? That's intros and endings for the song. Another one that's pretty cool is when we use, I use the fade out a lot, fade in and fade out. If you don't have that, it's a button that's called fade in and fade out. What that is when I get to the end of the song, let me just tell you this quick story, because when I was about 16 years old, we didn't have a place to rehearse. We had a trumpet player, I had a bass player, a drummer, myself, and so we couldn't find a place, so the drummer found this recording studio lady, and she said, why don't you guys come and practice in my recording studio? It's from 6 to 9 on Tuesday night. This was great, but she had an alternative thing with that, because people would come in and want demo records. So she had a built-in band to accompany these demo records. A demo is one that wants to put one together to send to people to maybe see if they can be famous. Well, I didn't even know what I was doing, but we would back up these singers and these players. But she would always, when fading out, she would go in the recording studio, as Brian's doing here with his dial, it's called a mixer. She would go and have us always go back to the beginning of the song, and then and she would fade us out in the recording studio. So that's what the fade out is. So here's that 5'2" again. I am going to play it, and then we're going to hit the ending button, which is not the ending. I'm going to hit the what? The fade out button. Watch. pretty cool ending for a song when you're playing it. It sounds more professional. Now, some of you might say, I don't have a fade in, fade out button. Well, of course, maybe come and see us. We might give you one on another organ. But if you don't, that's okay. You have an expression pedal. An expression pedal is where my right foot is. And of course, we're watching for volume here. But so let's do it again. We're going to do the 5'2". I'm sorry I'm using that as an example, but I'm going to again play it, and I'm going to use my expression pedal for my ending at the end, okay? So I put my expression pedal all the way down, and then I gradually just increase it till it's almost upright. So you can do it if you don't have the fade in and fade out. And it also is pretty cool in starting a song. I like to use that, and I didn't do this yesterday. I like to do it in Latin songs. So I'll put on my Latin beat, and I will start a song with the fade in. Pretty cool to start a song that way. It's kind of like in the distance, and the music starts to come for you. So again, to use the fade in and fade out, and again, you could do it with your expression pedal. So if I had the expression pedal, I'll put it all the way up, and then watch what happens. See, kind of a different way and having fun with the expression. Again, these are done what the pros do, and you can do it very easily with the button or with your expression pedal. Pretty cool, huh? I like that. Any questions, or anybody have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, we see if anybody has any questions. I did want to mention, too, because I know there's probably many of you wondering this. You will get the materials from Joe's workshop today, the stuff that I've been pulling up on the screen. That'll be emailed out tomorrow. On Friday or Saturday. Robert said he will get that out to you. And it looks like we have Carolyn has a question here. Carolyn, I'll unmute you, but you might have to click unmute yourself also. So go ahead if you can click that unmute button.
Okay. Joe, can you put the fade in, fade out to a preset, and then go into your next choice of music, or choice of setup on your general setup?
I'm not understanding the question a little bit. Explain it.
Okay, I'll start over.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely.
Okay, you can use your fade in, fade out.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're starting the song with fade in,
well, if you're going to put it in a preset, you'll find out. I'm sure you better check that out, because in the fade out button, it is something that's just as temporary. It's
Okay.
only in and out. So if you have a preset, I think you're going to have to touch it one way or the other. Try it and see. I think the aria, I think you can do it. It's something they might have done, but I don't know about the other instruments, the other
Okay,
type of.
I'll try. Thank you.
Check it out, put it in, hit it, and then do a preset, and then check and see if it does it. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, just to be safe. That's a good question. All right, should we go on? One more thing about endings. In fact, Joni does this all the time, and I do too. When you get to the end of the song, we're going to use the regular endings that we have. And that's why if you have one that has two endings, it's pretty cool, because one is a little longer, one's a little shorter. And so just before I hit the ending button, I use the FX or fill-in prior to hitting that. So if I get to the song and I'm playing it, so I want to have the fill-in go in before I hit the ending. Why? Because if I goof up and off beat or miss something, that'll correct it all, and everything will end perfectly for me. So you never know. I sometimes do make a mistake. I try to always cover it up. If ever you want to know I made a mistake, I turn and smile. So that's how it is. As I'm playing, I make a mistake and I'll turn. So I've already given away my secret there. So every time you see me do that, you know, oops, Joe made a mistake. So that's kind of a trick there. Most students go, oops, I made a mistake. So, I mean, that's not what you're supposed to do. So you got to have fun with that, okay? So remember, hit the FX or fill in, and then hit your ending button. And that is a great way to finish a song, okay? And the last thing you want to do is you want to also find out the bridge. I love the bridge of a song. What is the bridge of a song? Well, let's use that 5'2" again. Do you have that up? Okay, this is really cool to understand. Now, if you notice, in a way, I have counted, I put numbers, if you can see on the screen, you will get a copy of this. I put a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then there's a double bar. Well, the reason that is because the first part of the song is then repeated a second time. It's almost identical to the first part. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you notice then, again, it starts with 1. Well, the first part and the second part are the same. Some of you might, who've been around with me, that's called an AABA form. A repeated, and B is the bridge. The bridge is over there where that E 7th chord is, and actually it starts 3 notes earlier. So it's E, D sharp, E. Now that's the bridge. I may want to start the bridge of a song. So you can do that, and I might even play the bridge without any rhythm. I might do a song that it could be any song. If you know where the bridge is, that's a great way to, Brian, can I do this example? It's not part of the program. I didn't do it yesterday. I'm crazy today. Sorry, guys. This is a song called Watch What Happens, and a friend of mine who passed away played guitar, and he always started the song in the bridge, and we'd always let him do that. So the bridge he would play with no rhythm, and he played it on guitar. So I'm just going to give you a sample of that, and then I'm going to go into the song. So this is how nice it is sometimes when you can play the bridge, and you don't have to worry about rhythm. You just hold a chord, and you play the song. See, we had him play the bridge. It was nice, and then we went into the rhythm. Great way to make a song. So if you want to have fun with a song, find the bridge. The bridge is always different than the type of song. Now, let's go on. We played the bridge on 5'2", and then we have again, another 8. So let's add up. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is how many measures? 32. Now, many songs from the 1900s till about 1950. There's probably hundreds and thousands of songs that use a 32 measure phrasing. So usually it has the A repeating, and then the great part, the bridge, and then the same 8 again. Now, why is that important? Because that's where we get into registration changes. Registration means that I would put in a new sound, okay? So this time, let's go over to the second song that is wonderful, okay? Got it? Okay. I'm going to go into this song, and I'm using Frank in the count, so when he wants to know the rhythm of this. And again, this is a 8 plus 8 with a bridge, and the ending now, okay, which is the same 8. So I'm going to do a couple of them. I am going to do the intro. Okay, the intro, which is going to be the regular intro this time. Now, if you notice, what did I do when I came to the bridge? I did a registration change. And see, by knowing where the bridge was, I was able to put that sound in there to make it sound, again, more professional. So that's what's cool about knowing the bridge. I could have even started the song without rhythm and started in the bridge. So those are some of the tricks of the trade that some of the pros do, and you can do them. It's just a matter of, remember, you don't have to learn everything about it. You can play it with one finger, you can play the chords, or you can do the last 4 measures. One other one, and I stole this from the last thing I'm going to talk about for the endings and some of this phrasing, and then we'll get more into registration, is let's do a nice little song without rhythm, okay? I'm going to go back to a waltz, the last thing I'm going to show you here, and I'm going to do a nice waltz. Let's see, let's pick a nice waltz, okay? I have a nice setting. Nice little setting, and again, I'm going to do what? I'm going to take off the waltz, put back easy. Now, here's a trick for a great, great ending, and I'm going to do it a couple times for you. So I'm going to do a little bit of Around the World. Forget about this song. It could be any song. Brian, were you able to pick up my left hand on that one? Let me do it one more time. Brian shows this off all the time. This is a very easy one. When you get to the end of a song, I'm in the key of C, you want to go down and play with one finger, play on all the black keys until you hit C again. So here's the end of the song. Got it? Okay, great ending. I don't care. I can give you 3 lessons and you can do that. One finger, play the black. Now, you could also go in reverse. Reverse, I like it too. Okay, that's in the key of C. If you're in F, you start on F and you go down to F, playing all the black ones. If you're in the key of G, you play all the black ones and stop on G. So here's F. G. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but always remember you want to stop on the note of the key you're in. How do you like that one? Any questions on that?
Got another question from Carolyn. What's up? Hit unmute there.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Joe, on your song, the first song that you did, you counted 8 measures. Then you put a double bar. Would you show the individuals that first song that you did where you're indicating 8? You did 1 through 8, put a double bar where you change your preset and you indicate a key. Is that correct, the double bar that you put on your music?
Well, the double bar is for me to know that that's
Yes.
going to be the second 8 that's going to come. It
Okay.
also could be that that's where I could change registrations before I get into the next 8. Those are the spots where the sound changes are usually. That is correct. And let me tell you this, there's 2 things on easy play music for everybody. Listen carefully. The first thing you got to remember, in the left and upper corner, whatever that says that's printed, cross it out. Those sounds, what they tell you, are antiquated. They were put in many years ago, and it has nothing to do with what we teach today. I saw a song that we were playing, and it had a rumba beat up there, and it was a waltz. I mean, it was ridiculous. So you don't use those unless it's written by us. So in the upper left-hand corner, upper left, it'll say ballad or whatever, and cross those out. Never look at those, please, okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing that Easy Play doesn't do, they don't give you the markings for when the first part is, second part, the bridge. So they leave that out. I have no idea. They did everything easy for you, easy chords, easy notes, and then they forget to mark in where the first part, second part. So that's why I have to put that in. So in a way, you almost have to count or call your keyboard advisor, and they can help you out with it. This is so, so important, because if you've got presets to use in front of you, and you want to change, it just doesn't happen any old time. It happens in the song at a proper moment. So that's what makes you sound, and there's the word again, sound more professional. So it has nothing to do how well you play, it has how well you use the sounds, okay? So keep that in mind.
All right, we got another question for you, Joe. It just says iPad, so I'm not sure who that is, but if you raised your hand and it says iPad, go ahead and unmute yourself. Well, maybe they don't have a question anymore.
Okay.
If you figure it out, iPad, feel free to unmute and ask.
Now, for those of you that say that you're having trouble with rhythm, we have put some features in it that you can still, I didn't talk about this yesterday, but it is something that'll be in my outline. You and Joni mentioned this too. We have a golden harp, if you have that feature. You put in the golden harp, and it's adjusted by the tempo button. And that's a way you can have a nice background without having to worry about keeping 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That golden harp is really great. You also have, if you have that small little keyboard, that's called the virtuoso, that is something that is beautiful to fill in when you want. And there's a little trick that has been taught for a few classes, and I call it my two-finger going back and forth. Can you see that? Going back and forth, so watch. Isn't that cool sounding? Watch it again. So if you practice that, and well, you know, some people think I'm crazy on a plane. I used to do this, you know, and they go, this guy's very strange. He's practicing on that thing over there. There's no sound, but I'm practicing. It's pretty cool. And if you're really smart, you can go halfway and so you see you can make some funny things with it. So you can have some fun with it. So it's a really cool thing. It's called the virtuoso. Some of you might have two, and that's really nice because then when I do that, I go in the opposite directions. I don't go together. One goes this way. So if you have that, great. So that's something to add in a song when you're playing. So that's cool. Any questions on that? We'll answer in a little bit because we got so much to cover. I'm so excited about these things. About 15 minutes we got. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so remember this. So about registration changes. In doing that, there's a way that I think is easy for the solo player. The beginner player is use solo voices. If you're a beginner, try to use solo voices like trumpet, clarinet, violin, and in a way you will really sound good in playing those instruments on this song. So, and one thing that Lowry did, and the organ that we have now, even the Estes, excuse me, is when you play on the lower keyboard, that lower keyboard instrument sound will be exactly the way the instrument should sound being played. So for example, if I had a flute on, flute has a certain range, but if I play the flute too low or too high, it doesn't sound like a flute. But the lower keyboard, here's the flute. It's in the perfect range. And if I wanted to play a trumpet, the trumpet has a different range. It'll be perfect, but then a trombone is an octave lower. See, I didn't have to worry about where it would sound good. That lower keyboard in solo instruments will always sound great. Here's a bell sound. But right away, here's a flugelhorn. See how beautiful those ranges? I don't have to guess. If I were to put that up on the upper keyboard, it might be in the wrong place. And then I got to figure out, here's the trombone. If I played it in the wrong place, that sounds like a trumpet. Here's where I have to find where to play it. Never have to worry about it in playing on the lower keyboard solo voices. So that's the trick of doing. When I play, I always play my solo voices down here because I never have to guess where is the best place to have it sound. So look, if you've got a window that has it and it shows you what's on the lower keyboard, look at that and you will see the instruments, and those sounds will be always absolutely perfect. Never have to worry about the sound, okay? That's a great thing about solo voices. All right, we're getting down to the end because my last thing I want to cover is something called color chords. This is so good. Color chord is a different chord to make it sound more professional. And there are certain songs that if you don't put that color chord in, you will have a problem in making it sound. In the song Misty, for example, Misty's first chord is totally wrong because it's not a color chord. A color chord is a changing of the regular chord. Now, the first thing in color chords I'm going to show you is just the name of the key you're playing in. So, example, if I'm in the key of C, I'm going to give you a new color chord for the key of C. That's the C chord. If you're in the key of F, I'm going to give you a color chord for the key of F. In other words, whenever you see the F, you replace it with this chord. Whenever you see a C, you replace it with this chord. And the other one I'm going to give you is G. Now remember, you don't play color chords on songs like polka, country music, because they don't use color. But jazz songs, Misty, Satin Dow, Laura, Girl from Ipanema, Begin to Begin, even Unforgettable. These are some of the songs. Man and a Woman, My Cherie, Nevertheless, Penthouse. There's all kinds of songs. The music from Phantom, for example, color chords. So you've got to use them. So I'm going to show you on the board, and I have a list of a few songs that you should try it depending on the key. So I'm only going to give you 3 keys. One is C. So when you see it, the key of C, and it's like I Only Have Eyes for You, you can put this color chord in for C. When you play Misty, when you see if it's in the key of F, you're going to replace that F chord with the color chord. So here they are. This is cool. Now remember, this is a session that goes on forever for color chords, because every chord that's in a song has a color chord, which means it replaces it with something more professional. That's a G. Okay. Now, don't confuse this with the chords that are 7. This has nothing to do with those. You're not replacing a C7th chord. We're placing the letter C because that's the key of the song. What? Where? Oh. Sorry. Good boy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank God I got a teacher here too. Okay. So we have C, and it has to be a big M, not a little m. So if you see C, you're going to put in an M and 7. And what you want to do is you play very easily, just add the B to the C chord. Got it? If I'm in the key of F and I see an F chord, I am going to replace it with E and F together. If I see a G chord and I'm in the key of G, I'm going to play F sharp. That's the black one in this. So here is Misty. And this one is written in the key of F, which is not really the right key for it. But listen to the chord that they wrote in, because it's not a color chord. It's horrible. So I'm going to just put on the strings here and easy play. So here is Misty, the way they wrote it. What? Hear it? Wrong. Ooh, much nicer, see? How about this one? Nice. Here's Sentimental Journey. Much nicer with the color chord, see? So these songs, here's Talk of the Town. And the Talk of the Town starts. Color chord. Otherwise, here's the difference. So always, I'm in the key of F. So whatever key I'm in, I'm going to put that color. Latin music is great for color chords. Girl from Ipanema, you need a color chord. Remember the key. So this right here, so all you remember for easy play, guys, I can put C, just add the note below it. Got it? F, the note below it. G, the note below it. And if you've got some of those advanced players, here's E flat, add the note below it. And B flat, that's probably about it, A. So those are that's the first color chord, and I use it all the time when I play some jazz stuff. Anything in jazz. Georgia on My Mind, perfect song for it. Okay? And when I played even the Beatles, the first song, Something. Listen. There's that color chord. Pretty, isn't it? See? So what a difference other than just hearing the C chord. So remember, the color chord is to make you sound more professional. You don't have to be an advanced player to just even play the song very simple. Okay? That kind of gives me the end of what we have here. We're running out of time, and I'll leave it up to Brian to maybe see if there's any questions. And I know that's about as rush of a job we can do, but I've had fun, and I hope you got something out of this, everybody. Thanks.
I got a question from Carolyn.
Oh, my God. Carolyn is great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Joe. Your class is excellent. I'd like to know, when you color code, are you going through the song entirely or only in the beginning?
There, again, is a good question. You have the option to listen and, again, play it without rhythm. Usually the first chord, if it's C, you can do it. But even during the whole song, you can do it, but sometimes that's overdone. You understand? If you don't want to milk it to the point of where it's way out of line. So at my time, I might do it a couple times, might go back to the regular chord. And again, I don't do it, but I would say if it's a real cool jazz number, then I would do it all the way through. But if some of the standards, some of the, like Unforgettable, I might do it at the beginning and maybe in the middle for one and then at the end on it. Does that kind of help? Not to overdo it.
Okay. I have one other question.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned to play your solo instruments on the lower keyboard, do you, if you change your split, which is, it defaults to the third F sharp, would you stay within that range from the third F sharp? If you change it, would it still be the same if you changed it to the second sharp? Would it still have the same sound?
I'll have Brian show on the keyboard. The range that usually is done, can you show it on the key, from C to here is probably going to be. So you have all of this if you wanted to change your setting, because you want to stay between C and C, and that's a 2-octave range. In most solo instruments, that's where it should be. You don't want to play much lower than that, but the solo instrument will be right in this range, 2 octaves between C and C.
Thank you.
Got it?
Thank you.
And it is great. It's the simplest way to find the right sound on an instrument without having to guess, because I hear people say, oh, it sounds too muddy, and when I play it up there, it sounds too deep or it's too piercing. That's because the range is not set in the upper keyboard. It's set on the lower keyboard. Everybody understand? The range is set for you on the lower keyboard.
All right, great question. Anybody else have a question for Joe here? All righty. Well, I think I'll turn it over to Robert for some announcements if he's there.
I am here.
All right.
And I just have to point out something, Joe. Earlier you said you're feeling crazy today. You lied. You're crazy every day. This guy's a nutcase.
Oh, my God. I'm glad you noticed, Robert. You're so busy.
I didn't want to
think you
say
noticed.
anything earlier, but we've got 86 people, and I think we have to be up front with all of them and let them know that Joe's a little crazy every day. By the way, I didn't want to stop the class. There was a question earlier about saving the fade in and fade out button on a preset.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer was simply yes, but there's a little caution if you ever do that. It's a great feature because if you decide, and that'll work on any organ that has a fade in or fade out button. All right, but here's the caution: if you save a fade in or fade out button on an organ on a preset, just remember that when you press that preset, it will activate that feature. So if you press that preset before you play, it'll turn it on and it will then act in as a fade in. If you press that preset while you're playing, it'll start to fade out. So it'll just remember that's the purpose of the preset, is to save the button. So if you're saving that button on a preset, the minute you press that preset, it's going to activate that feature. So you just got to remember that that preset has it. Anyway, a couple announcements, and then we'll have Joe finish off with a little number. Tomorrow, Friday, at 2 p.m. Florida, 11 a.m. Arizona, we have Jason Bontrager's our featured Zoom musical performer. And I was a little disappointed last week, Joe. We only had 199 people on.
Oh, we missed it.
We were looking at it here at the office. Justin was when we said we just want one more person just to get up to 200, and then it went down to 198, and then it went back up to 199. I was like, I just want one more person. So I'm going to send out the email reminder, and I'm going to post the link on Facebook a few minutes before. We'd like to, hopefully we all get to see you tomorrow. We have a great performance coming up. This class, yes, will be recorded. It's already recorded. It will be on the Fletcher, our YouTube channel. And I highly encourage you that if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, you have to I think you have to have a Google account or Gmail, but it's free. It's real simple. You just sign up, give your name and your birth date and all that, just basic information, and then you can subscribe. And I believe Brian just put it up there. You just go to youtube.com/Fletcher Music Centers, and when I send out the links, it usually brings you right to our page. But the beauty of that is that when I post it, you won't have to wait till Saturday for me to send the link saying here is last week, because I'll do it anyway. I'll do it, usually I do it at night because the internet speed here is so slow for me to download and upload. It literally takes about 5 or 6 hours just to download one video, and then another 4 hours to upload it. When I do it at my house, it takes 10 minutes, actually about 5 minutes to download and about 10 minutes to upload. So it'll be up there at night, but once something is uploaded, you'll get a notification, and then you'll know to go check it out whenever you'd like. and you can go back and, scroll through if there's a question that was asked or something that he talked about. Also, next week we're going to have on Monday, again, I'll be sending out emails on this. On Monday, we have the SD Series product feature class, and what that means is if you have one of the SD models and if you have the Easy Series, we're encouraging Easy owners to come because those models are very similar features, and it would be you would miss out a lot if you didn't. On Tuesday, both of these are at 10 a.m. Arizona, 1 p.m. Florida. On Tuesday, we're having the SU series with the touchscreen models, and we're encouraging A series models to attend because there's a lot of similarities in the operation. So, and I usually put all of those models up there. If you're not sure, just send me an email and I'll tell you if that's the right class or not. And on that note, on July 1st, maybe sooner, but July 1st, John and I have been every day proofreading a change on our website, the things that we're putting on there, and we proofread it every single day, and we change it every single day on the proof side. But beginning July 1st, all the classes that we do regularly, as well as the product feature class, like we're going to do another ARIA, EX, Marquee, Grand Marquee next month, or there's going to be another A, there's going to be another E. We're adding one for the intermediate size. All of this is going to be on the website, and it'll have all of the models that it represents, and it'll say, which ones you should go to and so forth. And the links will be there. So if for some reason you don't get the email or you forget to check, you can always go to that website, click on the email, and patch in at the time of the class start time. So you want to stay in touch with all of that. One more last thing before I do. We have a couple hand raised. Joanne, is it? Haley?
Yes. My question is, Brian, a couple of weeks ago, or a couple times ago, started doing the complete his top 10 hits or top 10 tips on sounds, and he only went through like 3 of them. Is he going to complete that or not?
Well, if we ever bring him back, he's been naughty lately, so.
Oh, please.
No, actually we do, but the thing is we, since that time, we've had Joni teach.
Yeah.
We had Joe Fontechia. Next week, we're going to actually have Jason teaching. And then after that, Brian's going to come back and pick up whenever that falls in the timeline. So, Brian, you have to remember, pick up where you left off.
I'm ready
Thank you.
whenever.
Thank you for reminding us, Joanne.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Carolyn, do you have another question? We charge you after 3 questions. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. You told me I was only allowed 2.
No, you're allowed. I know, but you asked 3 today, so now I'm starting to charge you. This is your 4th one.
Are you going to provide the tricks of the trade that Joe used so that we would have that as a permanent record?
Yes, that handout. So that will go out on Saturday.
Thank you.
I'll put also the links to these classes on there, but you can watch them before that.
All right, thank you.
All right, so before we turn it over to Joe to finish off with some music, I'm going to say thank you very much for attending. We got some really great numbers. We got some new classes. We have conductor magic classes. This is only going to be, this is just the beginning. This is not going to stop. And what we do in the store too, we're doing a lot of more smaller individually sized classes. So we're just trying to give it to you as many different directions as possible. And last but not least, I always like to throw this in, but make sure to make a friend, or if you have a friend, go out and tell them. We have brand new beginners classes learning. For beginners, like I've just started learning to play the first time, even if they don't have an instrument right now, until we really get our website changing and our registration, how to sign up for classes, as we're figuring that out. Right now they're free. So if you have anybody that has never played before, this is a great class to get started. You want to let me know, let your local store know. We'll get in touch with them, have them get in touch with us, whatever the case may be. If you don't have a friend, this is a good time to make one. Everybody needs a friend nowadays. And share the hobby of music making. And last but not least, I want to let you know that we do have some instruments. I don't know if you know this, but we do sell organs too. And we have our gift shop is officially opening up as soon as the concert's over. We have 7 gift shops. We have about, or 8, 5 in Florida, and we have 3 in Arizona. And we have all these lovely instruments that are offered at some very special price. Look at this, a Liberty. Ooh, those are very rare. We actually have one in Florida and in Arizona, the last 2 Liberties in its existence. So I'm going to encourage you to get with your staff members. We got some really special opportunities as we continue to do this. That's how we're funding all of the things that we do. So with that said, Mr. Joe Fontechia, are you ready, sane person?
Thank you.
All right. Have a big round of applause for Joe. I'm going to unmute everybody.
Joe, we only saw you turn and smile once.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you all. You were great.
I need to get a bunch of you on unmuted, and let's give a big round of applause. Let's get a bunch of people all at once. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Ah, I love that applause.
Look at that. I see the gallery mode. They're all applauding. Joe, one person wanted to see you smile again. Look in the screen
All
and
right.
smile.
Thank you.